Tapos na yung ating definition ng psychology. So pag-usapan naman natin yung nature and goal of psychology. What is the nature and goal of psychology? Pag sinabi nating nature, ang ibig sabihin niyan ay mula sa ating physical appearance to our personality characteristics. At ito namang word na goal, ang ibig sabihin niyan, alam mo na yan kung ano ibig sabihin ng goal, di ba? In psychology, this refers to a successful plan of action. Ang ibig sabihin niyan is, yung goal, it will guide you doon sa tamang decision making mo, sa tamang moves mo. So, your right decision at the right time. Yan ang ibig sabihin ng goal. Kaya meron tayong tinatawag na apat na goals dito sa ating psychology. Yung tinatawag nating describe, explain, predict, and control human behavior or changes. So ito yung mga bagay na tatalakayin natin dito sa what is the nature and goal of psychology. Ay nako, merong nagva-vacuum na kapitbahay ko. Pero ayos lang, tuloy-tuloy lang tayo. Medyo maganda naman itong mic natin kahit paano at nakakancel yung noise. Okay, so focus tayo dito sa unang goal natin, yung describe or description. Ang description dapat accurate yan and factual. So, huwag kang malito kasi marami naguguluhan sa fact and factual. So, tandaan mo pag sinabi natin factual statements, yan ay totoo na. Okay? In all cases. Meaning, may resulta na. Okay? Those statements are true. But pag sinabi natin this is only a fact or a fact statement, that can be proven, true or false based on the use of evidence. So, they have differences. A fact and a factual. So, I'm just explaining to you para madali mo siyang maintindihan. So, anyway, itong unang goal ng ating psychology ay description or describing or describe. Ang ibig sabihin nito, ito yung tumutulong sa isang psychologist na ma-distinguish niya between typical and atypical. Meaning, when you say atypical, one word lang yun ha. Yung typical nilagyan lang ng A sa unahan. Atypical meaning irregular, not typical behavior. So, ito yung mag-gain ng accurate understanding sa human or sa animal behaviors sa kanilang base sa kanilang pag-aaral. To give you an idea to pursue this goal, the first goal ng psychology, description or describing or describe if you will, ay kailangan yung isang psychologist meron siyang tinatawag na research methods. Number 1, including case studies. Dapat gumagawa siya ng kanyang sarili niyang case studies. Nag-observe siya o nagsusurvey siya, and ginagawa niya yung self-test based on the observation or the survey that na nakalap niya, and of course yung natural observation. This natural observation allows psychologists to pursue this particular goal, this first goal, the description or describing or so describe. So marami yan description, describe, isa lang yan. So we're talking about the very first goal in psychology is describe. And once naintindihan mo na yung how to describe it, the description, pupunta naman tayo dun sa tinatawag na explain, sa pangalawang goal ng psychology. Itong pangalawang goal ng psychology is explaining. Kailangan ma-explain mo siya to provide answers to questions about why people react to certain stimuli in certain ways. For example, how various factors impact personalities and mental health. mental health, and so on. I'm just giving you a brief background. Itong mga psychologists natin, they are, malimit silang gumagamit ng experiments. Kaya nga, kailangan para masabi nating scientific itong pag-aaral natin, and then psychology belong to science. Kailangan mong gumamit ng, yung way mo is scientifically. Otherwise, itong psychology will not be born. So, itong ginagawang experiment ng mga psychologists natin na may measure nila yung mga impacts of variables upon behaviors based on their observation to help them formulate theories that explain aspects of human and animal behavior. So that is the explain in this 4 goals of psychology. At in addition, tandaan mo lang, yung facts na nabanggit ko, dapat yung mga facts na magagather mo o makakalap mo ay dapat yun based on scientific research mo. In many cases, it will try to provide a cause and effect explanation of psychological phenomena. Napag-usapan na natin to at na-discuss ko na tong phenomena and nakapagbigay na ako ng example nito. And it will also give its theories about individual and group behavior. So that is the describe and explain in psychology. And then, dumako naman tayo doon sa tinatawag na predict and control or change. Tandaan lang natin na once the cause and effect is established, prediction and control will take place. Pero pag-usapan muna natin yung predict bago tayo pumunta doon sa tinatawag na control or change. Predict, ito yung pangatlo doon sa ating goals in psychology. It's about how humans and animals will think. Bago ka makapunta rito sa predict, kailangan you have to look in the past, doon sa mga nakalipas, nagawa mo na yung tinatawag nating describe and explain. Kasi ang gagawin ni psychologist dito ay yung aim niya is to predict how that behavior may appear again in the future, as well as whether others might exhibit the same behavior. So ito yung purpose ng predict. Psychologists can use knowledge gleaned from previous studies to predict why. Kaya napaka-importante yung description, yung explanation bago tayo jump dito sa predict or prediction. So inuulit ko, yung psychologist ay magbabase lang doon sa dalawang goals na previously na pinag-usapan natin to predict why, when, and how observed behaviors might happen in the future. Yun, inuulit ko lang. And psychologists can then foresee a pattern of behavior. Ayan. So, paano? By being able to predict patterns of behavior. Kasi yung psychologists natin can better understand the underlying causes of our actions based dun sa 2 fundamentals natin na description and explanation, or describe and explain. At least, we can predict, at least in theory, it can give us, or it can give the psychologists the ability to change or control behavior. Yan ay yung susunod nating topic, yung kapag nagawa mo na itong predict at magbibigay na ito ng tinatawag na at least a theory that psychologists can have a control or the ability to change or control behavior. That is the last goal of psychology. And we're gonna talk about that last goal of psychology now. Change or control, kung yun ang nasa book mo ay control, sa ibang book kasi change ang tawag nila dyan, sa ibang literature, but we're gonna talk about that. The final and most important goal of psychology, the control or change. I would like you to know na yung tatlong tiniskas ko para sa'yo at maintindihan mo ng lubos. Yung number 1, yung describing, explaining. Number 2, or predicting, describe, explain, and predict. Yung tatlong yon ay leads to the possibility to change. At ito na yon. Yung ika-4, yung number 4, yung tinatawag nating control or change. Ang ibig sabihin nito ng control or change, to make positive, to make people's lives positive, constructive, meaningful, and of course, changes, lasting changes in people's lives, and to influence their behavior for the better. So that is the definition. That is a simple explanation for that control or change, to make the outcome positive, to make it positive. So to recap, we have 4 goals in psychology. We have describe, yung ibig sabihin nun, what happened, o anong cause, kung bakit nangyari yan, bakit ginawa yan. And then explain is why did they do that. Kung ginawa nila yan, anong effect niyan. Kaya meron tayong, di ba, tinatawag ganinang sinabi ko at binanggit ko na cause and effect. So magte-take place na yung predict and control. So what would happen if they did this, let's say in the future? So you have to predict that and avoid that na hindi na mangyari yon. So you have to control. You have to think about the change. That is, it leads to the possibility to change, di ba? Nabanggit natin yan. Yan ang ibig sabihin ng what can they do next time to reach a different outcome. Ano ang gagawin natin? Anong paraan para magkaroon ng pagbabago or change at hindi na maulit yung ganitong pangyayari? So, nirecap ko lang sa'yo para maintindihan mo yung kabuuan ng 4 goals in psychology. And then to give you a good example na magagamit mo sa ang pang-araw-araw na buhay mo, okay? Sa iyong personal life, kasi pwede mo siyang i-apply eh. Itong real world example na ibibigay ko sa iyo, yung 4 na goals ng psychology to improve yourself. Hindi lang para sa exam, hindi lang para sa pag-aaral for the introduction to psychology, to improve yourself, to improve your relationships. Kung may boyfriend ka, may girlfriend ka, pwede rin yan. Sa business mo, to your business, kung meron kang business, and even sa career mo, napakagandang gamitin itong 4 na goals ng psychology: describe, explain, predict, control. You can use it to develop a healthier lifestyle with new habits sa 4 na goals ng psychology na ibibigay ko sa yung example. So, ang gagawin mo lang is mag-concentrate ka lang sa sarili mo na you have to come up with your own goal and describe it. Kung ano man yung thoughts mo, okay? Or your thoughts and behaviors related to that particular goal in full detail sa sarili mo. Try to introspect and explain why you may have behaved the way you currently do and predict your future thoughts at yung actions mo based on what you described and illustrated. Tapos, finally, try to change that. Try to control the behavior that is limiting you from reaching your goals. So, ganun lang kasimple yan. Now, ito na yung example. Halimbawa, kung meron kang bad habit na yung kain ka ng kain ng mga junk food na hindi naman dapat, na whenever you are stressed, yan ang ginagawa mo, di ba? So describe in detail your feelings during these moments sa pagkain ng mga junk food. Binibigyan lang kita ng halimbawa, no? So yan yung unang goal natin, ha? O, kain ka ng kain, ano bang makukuha mo dyan? Ano bang mapapala mo sa pagkain ng junk food, di ba? Ayaw yan ng nanay mo, pinagbabawalan ka ng doktor mo, bawal yan eh. O sige ka pa rin. Whenever you feel stress, sige, tira ka ng tira ng junk food. So describe in detail your feelings during that moment, di ba? And then after that, you describe it, explain mo naman why you may have behaved in such a way. So you have to explain kung bakit mo ginagawa yan. Whenever you feel bad, whenever you feel sad, whenever you feel stressed, ginagawa mo yung pagkain ng junk food. Naging addict na sa pagkain ng junk food. So you have to explain it. And of course, in the third goal of psychology, predict. After you describe, you explain, then you predict how you might behave in similar situation in the future. Kung ganyan pa rin ba ang mangyayari sa'yo after 2 months, 3 months, 1 year, paano na? Diba? Baka wala na. Yari yung atay mo. Yari yung, tataas yung presyon mo. Diba? Pagkain ng junk food, hindi yan maganda. Magiging obese ka. So, anong dapat nating i-substitute? So, na better behaviors like na ma-prevent natin ito. Yan, mawala, matanggal, 'di ba? So substitute it with better behavior. Sabi ko nga inulit ko lang like cooking and eating a healthy meal. Munching on fruit, yan ang ipalit mo, or even chewing some gum, not gun, okay? Some gum. Bubble gum, things like that. Although I would not advise that, but better than junk food. So this is the very, very simple example na kapag inintindi mo, you can replace that kung ano yung mga na-experience mo sa buhay mo, and then you can use these 4 goals in psychology. Alright, so that's all there is to it para dito sa ating what is the nature and goal of psychology.